All right, so we're going to begin by defining our very first table. Now, remember what I mentioned previously, there are quite a few elements that go into a table, or that we can use in a table. But don't panic, you don't need to know them all at once. We'll introduce them as we go. So you can see some of them here. We've got the table element, which is where we'll start. And then in this video, we'll focus on the first three, or the first four, TD, TR, and TH. So we're going to make a table that displays the heaviest living bird species, basically just some of this information from Wikipedia. I'm not going to copy every single piece because it's kind of annoying, but we'll just do probably the animal name, the average mass in kilograms and pounds, and then maybe if it's a flighted bird or not. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is actually add a table element. And here's the MDN page for the table elements. It represents our tabular data, but itself, the element itself, does very little unless we put something inside of it. So I'm going to make a new document here. I'm going to make this one called, how about just birds, heaviest birds.html. And then I'll do my shortcut here with Emmet, the exclamation points. Then we'll do heaviest birds table. And then in here, why don't we put a little heading in here, heaviest birds, and then a table, just like that. So I'll open this up in my browser. I'm working in a new folder now, right? I've broken up into different sections. So we're in this one right here, and heaviest birds.html, or you could just double click on your file, drag it to the browser, and here we are. There is a table element here, but there's nothing to see. So now we need to cover the elements that go inside of a table. And there are three we're going to focus on for now, the TD, TR, and TH. I personally hate the naming there. That's one of the worst parts of working with tables and teaching them, is that it just is it's a little confusing at the beginning. So a TD, that's where we're going to begin. It stands for table data cell or table data. I don't really know what the D is for. It represents a single cell. I would have called it a TC or just maybe a cell, just two extra characters. So TD defines a single cell in a table that contains data. So this could be a TD, that one could be one, this could be one, this can be one, and hopefully you get the picture. Let's see how it works. Let's go look at our list of largest birds or heaviest living birds, and let's just do a single, how about ostrich for one of our cells, and then I'm not going to copy this exactly, so I'll do average mass of 104 kilograms, 230. Okay, so let's just do a TD for now that says ostrich, and then we'll come back and worry about the headings in a moment. So then we'll do another TD, and what was it, 104 kilograms and 230 for pounds. Okay, so we have two table cells, or TDs. If I refresh, this is what we see. Not particularly spectacular, but it is working. We don't have borders turned on. We don't style anything, so it doesn't look great, but it is valid. So if I wanted to add in, how about just flighted as our final column, and I'll just have no. Refresh, we now have three cells. So now if I want to add in the next entry, which we have a Somali ostrich, 90 and 200, no. I'm just trying to remember that for myself. So I could do another TD, Somali ostrich, and then would we have 90 kilograms and 400? No, 200, okay. 200 pounds. That's pretty massive. 230 pounds is the average ostrich weight. And then one more, it's not a flighted bird. Well, if I refresh this, not quite what I wanted. We just ended up with a bunch of cells. Each one is a cell, but they're all on the same line. They're all in the same row. So what we need to do is actually use another element called a TR. A TR stands for table row, and it's a pretty easy one. It represents a row of cells in our table. So then we establish the cells with a TD, or soon we'll see TH, but the row is what groups elements or groups cells into a row. So this is one row here, this is one row there, and that's another row. And this is technically a row up top too. It's a row of headers. So all we need to do is wrap each one of these in a TR. And if we actually take a look right now, the browser went ahead and automatically added in a TR. They're all in a single row. We don't want to rely on that. It's not a very good table. So we will group our things together. Here's our first row, and then here is our second row, if I can format this correctly, right there. Okay, So we've got a table with 2 rows, and each row has 3 cells right now at least. Refresh, and now they're each their own row. Looks pretty good. Well, I shouldn't say it looks good, but it works. Let's see what happens if I add in, how about maximum mass for one of them, which is, I'm just going to copy this. So for the ostrich, not the Somali ostrich, if I just added another TD right there in the middle, and I refresh, okay, well now we have 4 elements, 4 rows up top, or 4 cells up top and 3 down below, but now things don't align anymore. So we have name, we have average mass, and then this is maximum, and then we have flighted, if it's a flighted bird or not, but these don't align anymore. So there are a few things I could do if I wanted to have this no line up over here, or I want them to be part of the same column. Really what I could do is just add in another empty TD if I needed to. And there we go. We just don't have a value here, but usually we'll just want a value anyway for maximum mass. So I'm just going to copy that over. So that's 130,287. Okay. So now the biggest problem we have is that it's really unclear what the heck this is and what this is and why we're just saying no and no. What's going on? We need to add in some table headings or headers. And that is where our next element comes in, the TH. So the TH element defines a header, and that's all we need to know for now. We do put our headers inside of a row still. We still need to say, all right, here are 3 headers if we're going to have 3 columns. So for our example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different cells across each row, and then we're going to want 4 THs. So we're going to do this right here, TR, because we want a row, and then our first header will just be, is it name? Yeah, we're going to ignore rank, so just animal. And if I just start with that, you'll see we get our header. Animal, it's by default, it's bolded. You can change all of that, just like pretty much anything with CSS. We can alter background color, sizes, fonts, spacing, borders, everything. So we have animal, and then average mass. I'm just going to copy this. And then maximum mass, so another TH. And this one right here, maximum mass. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it spreads out quite a bit now. And then we've also got, what was our last one? Flighted. So let's do that. A TH, is the bird flighted or not? And now we have our 4 table headers in a row, and then our 2 rows below that, where each one has 4 table data cells or TDs. So it's definitely a bit cluttered because of how long these headers are and how tight everything is. But this is a valid table. Let's quickly add in one more row at the bottom. So TR, and do we have a flighted bird that I could include? I do like cassowaries, but where's the first flighted bird? Domestic turkey or wild turkey? Okay, so I'm just going to copy these. This is not in order necessarily. So wild turkey is our name, and then the average mass, the maximum mass, and they are flighted, barely. But there are wild turkeys that live in my yard, and they live in a tree up there, and it shocks me, but they can fly up there. They're pretty big. Nothing compared to an ostrich, but still pretty big. 30 pounds, 90 pounds. Okay, so there's our table. We've got our table element. We've got TRs. Here's a TR, another one, and another one. And then our top row consists of 4 THs for the headers. And then our bottom 3 rows are a bunch of table data cells, TDs. So this video is just the basic intro to tables. Next up, we have a couple other elements to add into this mess, and then we'll move on to forms.